Prices have been going up like crazy here in Arizona. Lots of concerns. Am I paying too much? Well, the answer is no. Are we in a housing bubble? The answer is no. Now, housing bubbles are very, very rare events. Now, I've been in business almost 50 years. I've only seen one U.S. housing bubble. That was in 2005 and 2006. And it was right here in Phoenix. We were the epicenter. We were absolutely positively the poster child for bubbles. It was really wild and wacky. And I don't see any of that behavior going on right now. Now, what I do see is very, very strong hands paying cash 25 or 50% down, buying properties because they are very, very compelling investment. And they're getting a return on investment better than they can get in the bond market or in the stock market. You know, I think the S&P is about 1.76% dividend, and of course the Treasury today was under 1.3. It was down like 1.2 or so, and that was for a 10-year Treasury. A lot of risk in the bond market, and here in Phoenix, Arizona, the cap rate would be much, much higher than that, quadruple on some of these. So it's just a very, very compelling investment. Now, you probably have seen the University of Michigan's survey coming out saying that the buyers have a terrible sentiment. Well, of course they do. If you're a first-time home buyer putting, the minimum down, and God bless you, you got all kinds of problems. There's the first time you ever bought it, you're taking all your money, putting it together to get the down payment, and the closing costs get put together. Maybe you're an FHA or a VA buyer, or 5% or 3% down. You are competing with people like me that we're paying cash or paying half down. So when you go to present your offer, the seller has a choice. Are you going to deal with someone who's first time, that they're struggling a little bit to get their down payments put together? Maybe their credit scores aren't as good as what they should be. They're getting insured loans. I want them to get a loan, but they're competing with cash or 50% down with credit scores of 800. So who is the seller going to do business with? Well, of course, they choose the cash or the investors. They're probably going to get the same amount of money, and they're much more assured that they're going to have a much smoother transaction. So that means that the first-time home buyer, it's just like mission impossible for these poor people. Now, if you're my tenant, or if you're one of my kids, or one of the people I do business with, I'm going to tell you, keep at it. Go buy a house. I don't care if you have to make 40 offers. Keep buying. Try and get a really good one, but go buy a property. So maybe if you have to go further out than what you thought, go get a property. You can get one that needs to be painted and cleaned. Go buy a property. Don't give up. So consequently to what we saw in 2005, 2006, people are using these houses and are using a lot of cash. In 2005 and 6, everybody was leveraged to the gills. A lot of people had absolutely no business buying houses. They didn't even check credit scores there. Didn't even check if you were even working, a ninja, no income, no job. Are we in an Arizona housing bubble? The answer is no. Now, we are blessed with tens of thousands of homes just like this that you can buy. You can lease them out for more than what your payment is. Now in Arizona, we have over 100,000 people a year just moving into Phoenix, and it's a demand equation. People are coming in to use this. What we have is a dislocation of population. You have an economic and population dislocation because people are leaving states that are restricted. They've got regulations, and they're going to states that don't. So Florida, Texas, and Arizona are being flooded with population, and there's just not enough housing for it. So when you have people coming in looking to buy something that we don't have a lot of, is that going to drive prices up? Well, of course it is. This is going to be a very long-term trend, particularly here in Arizona. We're right next door to California. Californians are really getting tired of what's going on. They're tired of high taxes, high regulations, and they're leaving. And of course, we're 6 hours away from the beach from Phoenix, Arizona. So if you're my age, you can leave the kids. You can go over there and see them on the weekend if you want. It's easy peasy. So we have these long-term trends in place. They're going to continue going in. And the difference between a bubble, which is exuberance, where people are buying these things with no intention to use, they're just trading them like you trade baseball cards. These people are using them and moving into them, and we haven't got enough houses to cover all the people coming here. That's a simple organic growth. It's wonderful, but let me go to one more and let's talk about that. Now, the bubble in 2006 absolutely peaked April 2006, and April 2006 to April 2021. Here's the difference. So this is the Case-Shiller from the Federal Reserve Electronic Data System. You can see it's up 50 points in 15 years. Now we could have gone here, we could have gone here, but we chose to talk about the bubble, so we went to the top of the bubble. Now, of course, we are much higher in nominal terms. We exceeded the bubble in price. What does that mean? Well, I've been talking for months and months, if not years, saying that as you get older, we need to protect our purchasing power because the value of the dollar is dropping. Now, it's been very, very benign for the last 20 years, under 2%, but nonetheless, the value of purchasing power of your dollar has significantly declined. So that means dollars in 2006 were worth a lot more than in 2021. So we need to have inflation adjust the dollar to make them equal. And let's see what happens then. You can do the calculations, or you can go to an inflation calculator that you can find all over the internet. But this is the calculations for it, using future value and equaling present value adjusted for inflation. And here it was in 2006. Actually, the number was like 206.45. And if you would just put in keeping up with inflation from 2006, this formula, just an inflationary formula, would project a purchase price of $272.65, just keeping up with benign inflation. So just keeping up with benign inflation. Now, it's 1.89% benign inflation, and look at the price. Look what happened to the asset. Just keeping up with inflation. The prices are considerably higher. Just keeping up with benign inflation. Let's look at my next slide. Here's the actual figures. So they're projecting at $272.65, keeping up at a 1.89% inflation. The actual price is $256.45, so less than keeping up with inflation. We're not near a bubble. We might go to one. We may exceed this, but we're not there. This is strictly showing that not taking in organic growth, there's not any organic growth in this. We're just keeping up with inflation and not even doing that from bubble top to where we are now. And that says that we still have a long ways to go. Now, what we're seeing now with the housing will always keep up with inflation. Rents will keep up with inflation. When you're in the big markets like Florida, Texas, and Arizona, you get inflation plus organic growth. So what we're seeing now is a lot of organic growth. You're seeing things are actually growing. They're getting more valuable. They're building. This is how you create wealth. So we're having actual increases in wealth and demand, and it's exceeding inflation. Let's talk about the next slide. We talked about benign inflation, 1.89% for 20 years. 20 years, well, I went back to 2001. Inflation was less than 2%. Now, look at this. This is producer price index, less food and energy. Got this from Zero Hedge. But the first 5 months of 2021, prices are up 12.5%. Better than 6 times, almost 7 times the rate of inflation in 5 months. Now, if it's transitory, Bank of America thinks it will have transitory, but they think it's going to be 4 years of transitory. 4 years in my lifetime is a pretty doggone long time. Now, we talked about 15 years of 1.89% driving prices up. What do you think is going to happen when you've got inflation that's much, much higher than that? And I don't see anything on the horizon that's going to stop this. It looks to me like inflation, if we have maybe I'm wrong, but to me it looks like we have an inflationary cycle. So you can have demand start to slow down, but I think prices are going to continue. Now, I think the economy is going to slow down because you see some of our trading partners are slowing. You know, Europe is closing down for COVID and lots of restrictions here in the United States. So you have to know that the economy is going to slow down a little bit. And recessions kill inflation. So maybe we're going to have another government-induced inflation or in recession. And that would kill inflation. But we've been talking about the fact that you being my age being a baby boomer and we're getting set to retire or we're retired, we're going to live to be 100 years old. My wife could live to early 100s. And I need to make sure that she is fully protected in whatever she does, that she has a great, great life. And if you quit working, that means your income stops. So you have to have something that grows with your income so it maintains your purchasing power. So the average person, you have to have at least 2 rentals. You need to own your own home and have at least 2 rentals. If your kids don't own a home, go help them buy. If your grandkids don't own a home, go help them buy. Don't let them get discouraged. Let's go to the next screen. We're going to talk about this. I get a lot of people say, well, how is this fact? You keep saying this is the accumulation phase. This is my stylized version of my proprietary timing model. My timing model shows we're going to go much, much higher. It tells us we're going to go way here. Now, could we go into bubble territory? We could get very, very exuberant. I mean, you just never know. You could get modern monetary theory where the dollar just drops like a rock. Well, okay, if the dollar drops, well, you're going to see prices of real things just skyrocket. If you get inflation coming up, could really see things really skyrocket. So my model tells you what it sees, what's going to happen, doesn't tell you why, and the economy needs to unfold and tell us what happened. But I can think of several scenarios that's going to drive prices significantly high. And I think we're here in the middle of the accumulation phase. I think you have plenty of time to accumulate properties for a very meaningful change in your retirement accounts and your fortunes, because this is what fortunes are made. You need to do something about this. You have an opportunity to do that, and we'll help you locate some properties that are going to give you cash flow and return on investments. You know, we're licensed real estate agents here in Phoenix. We have great staff. Really know what we're doing. Our back office is done by West USA. They're at $5.7 billion in sales last year here in Arizona. Huge company, like 13th or 14th in the United States. Should feel very comfortable doing business. Let me just talk to my next screen. And this is where I get to brag a little bit. So if you like my videos, give me a thumbs up. If you subscribe, it really, really helps with our marketing. And if you're interested in real estate investing, these 2 books will help you. I wrote both of these. I'm an author. Love to see how my books get sold. But Real Estate Investing for Beginners is a workbook taking you by the hand and taking you through all the pitfalls so that you can buy some properties for yourself. And how to create a real estate money machine and retire at any age with income is my wife and I's business plan. I haven't worked a full year since 1991. My life's been fabulous, and you can too. So now if you need to reach me, you can reach me at michael@michaeldeville.com. We're here to help you in any way we can. If you want to brainstorm, if you have some questions or comments, put it in the video, or you're always welcome to reach me at michael@michaeldeville.com. My best to you. Bye-bye.